God of pity and love, return to this earth. Go not so far away, leaving us to grief. Return, Eternal One, return. Come back with the day. Come with the light that we may see once more across this earth's unsettled floor the kindly path, the old and living way. Let us not give way to evil in the night. Let there be God again. Let there be light. And there is some light. I want to do this first. Those of you who have been here for many years know that I can't begin a Yizkor sermon without doing what every rabbi should be doing, and that is looking to that window. And those of you who are looking at me, look up there. The reason the architect built this congregational sanctuary facing north was so that we could see this in the afternoon on Yom Kippur. Because usually, Jewish tradition says we're supposed to face east, which would make that window in our back, and we wouldn't see it at all. Of course, if you would come here daily, you could see this in the afternoon, but that doesn't happen. We know that. But it's a beautiful, beautiful sanctuary. And when the sun is out on Yom Kippur afternoon, as it is now, it makes this a very special time. And I know we're here for lots of reasons. But I was told I have to do that. I have to talk about that window. Danny, is that okay? Did I do the right thing? Thank you. Now who's in charge? We know that the past presidents and presidents are in charge. We know that. To tell you a story about many, many years ago, and it fits with that 150 on the screen. I was an assistant rabbi here with Rabbi Stone of blessed memory. And one Friday night after services, as was our custom at the time, not now, I know. It was our custom at the time when services were over, we would go up the aisle and we would greet the congregation. I suppose there were many congregations that did the same thing. And this little boy came up, shook Rabbi Stone's hand, shook my hand, went to his mother, and he said, "Mama, I just spoke with God and his assistant." And I figure now, this congregation is 150 years. I haven't been here 150 years. I know that there are young people here, not many, but I know there are young people here who think, oh, he must have been here when it started 150 years. Not so. I have to tell you, though, but in all the years I've been here, and I say this, I'll stop in a minute. I say this from the bottom of my heart. This morning's service was the most beautiful service I've ever been to. The music was magnificent. As I did say to the cantor, we could have gotten to Amen a little bit earlier, but that was okay. And of course, Rabbi Hyatt's sermon was outstanding. And I don't think there were too many dry eyes in the sanctuary then. And we thank you because it made a difference. So we're here with this 150th, and I do want to thank Rabbi Black for inviting me to do this. It is truly a joy for me. One thing I miss, and the one thing that I wish was happening more, and it's something I think we ought to think about, and that is, I know that for people who are raised in traditional synagogues especially, when it came time for Yizkor, the kids were shoved out. And not so much in the synagogue I grew up at, but it was late in the afternoon. By that time, kids weren't coming to the temple anymore. There were never children at Yizkor sermon. I think a service, I think it's a mistake. For a lot of reasons. Besides the fact that there are some children who have lost parents, that we know. Many children have lost grandparents, that we know. Many children have lost friends. Many young people see what's going on in this world. And they need moments like this that we treasure. They need them so that they will treasure them in days to come. So I wish and I hope that somehow or other we could encourage our young people to be at a Yizkor service. It's a beautiful time. And what we are trying to do when we're here is to remember those who are gone. And what else is it about? It's about tears, I know that. It's about broken relationships, people who are gone. It's about history. How many people have been a part of this congregation in 150 years that called upon this community to give them strength when they lost loved ones? I know that that's what it's about. And nothing I say is going to make it any better. When we lose those that we love, there's pain. But kids suffer losses too. And it may not be as the same, but they do. And so I hope that we will keep that in mind in years to come. Now, this afternoon, I have 4 takeaways I hope you will get from my remarks. First, we live in a time of uncertainty. Second, we all have a bucket list, or I should say a life list. Third, this Yizkor time is personal. And number 4, we have to have hope. So let me start with number 1. We have to live with uncertainty. That's what life is really about. This morning, beautifully, and at Rosh Hashanah as well, we listened to Unatana Tokev. Such an important prayer in our tradition. And you know, it says, who shall live and who shall die? Who by fire and who by earthquake and who by flood, and so on and so on. The whole list of people who will die for different reasons. We live with that uncertainty. And these last 6 weeks, we certainly live with that uncertainty. Oh, not in Denver, perhaps, but certainly in Morocco, certainly in Libya, certainly in Hawaii, and certainly any time there is something that happens when many people's lives are taken from them. Certainly, as we observed just a week or so ago, the destruction of the Twin Towers, that was all uncertainty, and we have to live with uncertainty. Floods and earthquakes and fires. That's what we are about as human beings. And now we live in uncertain times. We are all mortal beings. While we don't like to think about it, we do, and that is, we are finite. I've said this so many times. I went to rabbinical school, and one of our professors said, just remember, and it wasn't your dad, just remember, all religion is a response to our finitude. All religions are a response to the fact that we will die. And ours is no different. For all of us, We have to live with that uncertainty whenever it comes. Yes, we'd all like to live long lives. But the truth is, some of us will and some of us will not. Even in this congregation. Yes, we will bury people who are old, who have fulfilled many dreams in their lives. And unfortunately, sometimes we will have to bury those who are not old. That's the uncertainty of life. And so what we have to do, each of us, it's the therefore, the 3 little dots. Therefore, we have to make the most of the time that we have. I know that no one has ever said that to any of us before. Second takeaway. Seldom in dealing with people who are dying, seldom do I ever hear from somebody who says, everything was great. Just bury me. That's not true. Every single person I've ever talked with, they want to know that they made a difference in life. It's not enough just to live. They want to know that they made a difference, that somebody cared about who they were, that they did something extraordinary perhaps. But no one wants to just live out their days. I remember often colleagues of mine have written on this subject. They talk about it. And they say to us that we have to make a life, not a living. And I think that's true. Our bucket list should be a list filled with things of what can we do to make the community a better place. We listened to the mayor just a few minutes ago, and he told us what we might do. And we think about it all the time. That's what we're here for. That's what our task is. We have to make a difference, not just a living. And as we do that, we also have to know that we have to find forgiveness from those, even sometimes, who have done things to us or we have done to them that are unforgivable. Those of you who know me well know that I can't let a moment like this go by without pleading with you. If you're going to have meaning in your life, there are people with whom you don't talk. And it's time to start that process. If we're going to be serious about what this day of reconciliation is about, it is also about reconciliation between us as individuals and those with whom we've had a conflict. There have been times over the years, and I'm thinking of 2 individuals in particular, 2 brothers. I won't mention names. 2 brothers who did a lot of things together. And toward the end of their lives, they didn't speak. And one of them said to me after one of these Yom Kippur sermons, he said, I went to talk to my brother and I'm glad that you said what you did. Because before I die, I want to reconcile with him. And he did. That's what this time is about. We have to make a difference. Sometimes we have to make a difference as each of us faces those people in our lives with whom we might have difficulties. Third takeaway. Our losses are personal. Joyce just lost her sister. It's personal. Many of you lost people in your lives with whom you're very close, even recently. It's personal. It's your loss. The question is, when we lose someone we love, and we know that they stood for something, what are we going to do in response? It's a wonderful story told. The opponents of Hasidism had betrayed their rabbi. They betrayed him to the czarist police, and the rabbi was put in jail. His jailer, a devout man, had a tremendous interest in the Bible. The jailer asked the rabbi, "How are we to understand that God, the all-knowing, said to Adam, 'Ayeka, where are you?' After all, God, who knows everything, should certainly know where Adam is. So why did he ask Ayeka?" The rabbi answered the jailer, "Do you believe that the scriptures are eternal and that every era, every generation, and every man is included in them?" "I do believe this," said the jailer. "Well then, in every era, God asks every person, 'Ayeka, where are you in your world?'" Ayeka, when our loved ones die, where are we? Rabbi Hyatt spoke this morning about the 23rd Psalm, which Rabbi Black and I refer to all the time. We do refer to it. Why? Because we've learned a lesson. Not to get stuck in the valley of the shadow of death, but to walk through it. That was the point she made. Thank you. And the truth is, Ayeka, we're all here because we've lost somebody we care about. And if that's the case, where are we as individuals? We're here as a community now because that's our job. But where are you? Where is each and every one of us individually in trying to make good on the promises we made to those that we loved when they died? We will always remember this, and we'll always do this, and we'll always do that to keep their memories alive. Ayeka. That's what we're here for today, to ask that question in so many different ways. But we ask it in this way as well. This is the time when we have a real chance to make a difference. Fourth takeaway. As I look to that window, I see the beautiful lights, but I see hope. I see hope. Last night, Rabbi Black spoke about the difficulties that we all face as Jews because of what is happening in our beloved Israel. And he said, without hope, it may be very difficult. And then he himself welcomed a new child, a grandchild into this world. What could be better than that kind of hope? How can we leave this day without looking, to the window for sure, but looking to our own futures and looking to the futures of our loved ones? We have to keep hope alive. Rabbi Hugo Grin was a Holocaust survivor who said he learned his most important theological lesson not in a yeshiva or in a rabbinical school, but in the concentration camp. During the winter of 1944, he was interred in the same camp with his father. The elder Grin announced that it was Hanukkah, and he produced a clay ball. He lit wicks emerged in a bit of margarine taken from the daily rations. And when the younger Grin protested the waste of food, his father looked at him and said, "You and I have seen what is possible to live up to 3 weeks without food. And we can live 3 days without water. But you cannot live properly for even 3 minutes." Without hope. Hope is what we have. Hope is what we need. Hope is what makes those 150 years so important. Those 22 families that established this congregation 150 years ago had hope. And when they bought land to bury their dead, they did so because they had hope that there would be a future. And I believe that's what Yom Kippur is about. Sure, it's about forgiveness. Sure, it's about asking God to forgive us and us asking others to forgive us for what we've done to them. But it's for hope. It's so that things will get better. I have to say that this beautiful service today, this beautiful day, is not the days like when I first came here. Trust me. It's very different. Very different. But it's beautiful. Why? Because there has been hope in every generation in this congregation. And so, dear friends, I hope that you will take those 4 takeaways: uncertainty and making a difference, asking yourself, where am I in all of this? And certainly to ask ourselves, what can we do with hope? May you all have a wonderful day, wonderful year. Gamar Chatima Tova.